Welcome back to the Mauldin High School Broadcast Network. This is Garage Talks episode 5, and we got a huge slate for you guys today. We're going to be talking about a little bit of the game last week. We played Byrnes on the road, and it was a huge game for the Mavericks. The best loss I've ever seen from this Mavericks team, I think ever. Calling the games and just going. And then we're going to talk, we got a bit of a different situation now with the playoffs coming closer, with a different format. We'll talk about that in a little bit, and as we always finish off, we preview our next matchup, and I'll be Spartanburg. We'll let you guys know a little bit more about that later, but first, let's go ahead and digest what happened. Played against Byrnes, a very good Byrnes team who's currently number 3 in the state of South Carolina on the road, down 31-0 with about 3 minutes to go in the first half, and a huge play by Jose and Joe Owens just triggered the offense. They ended up final score 31-20. And the biggest thing was they wanted a 20-0 scoring run from that 31-0 point on. And that was huge for this Mavericks team, I think, moving forward.
Yeah, second half, Mauldin was looking like one of the best teams that possibly in the state. Second half, shutting down Byrnes the way that they did, they looked unstoppable. The defense especially, you're looking at the defense of the secondary, the hits that they were laying on some of these guys.
Oh, my gosh.
It was brutal. The defense that these guys brought to the table second half, because they knew what was on the line, and it was just a different team that we saw in the second half.
And I think we even talked a little bit to some guys from the team, and they said they came out a whole lot more loose as the game went on. Because I think when it's 31-0, you got nothing to lose. I think some of the defensive guys, I feel like they're almost conservative. They know that a lot of that game is going to be on them. When you're down 31-0, it's, okay, let's go hit somebody. It doesn't matter anymore. We can go try to make some plays. It doesn't matter. And then the offense, I feel like they were in the same thing. It was, we're down 31-0. Let's go try some stuff. And it worked.
But the thing with Byrnes, though, is that all of their points came off of mistakes by Mauldin. And I feel like almost every drive where they scored, they were given exceptional field position.
Oh, yeah. I think, that was the biggest thing. Mauldin, I don't know what happened, but it just clicked all of a sudden. It went from we can't move the football, we're, like you said, we're giving them good field position to we're not only competing, but we're beating the number 3 team in the state.
Yeah, it went from we can't move the football to let me take a shot downfield at Jose, and then it ends up working out.
That was one thing that I was really excited for, the deep shots they took. When you look, let me find, Jamison Tucker's catch was a 37-yard touchdown, and that was the shorter of the 2 touchdowns. So I just thought, just the way they moved the football, the other one was 54 yards. I think that's exactly what you want to see from this passing game against a really good Byrnes defense. And that's one thing that I'm going to be excited for moving forward. I've never felt so confident after a loss. We were talking about it. Usually, we call the games every Friday, so we're around the team a whole lot, and we almost feel like we're part of the team. When the team loses, we lose. When the team wins, we win. We feel like Boiling Springs, that was a tough one to swallow for us driving all the way back. But I feel like coming back from Byrnes, it didn't even feel like we lost that football game.
Well, definitely. And one of the things, coming away from that game, it was completely different level in terms of Mauldin's passing game. This entire season, you've seen just Jason Brandon King and Raekwon, and then introducing that flex formation, throwing in Brendan Kelo and Devin Scott into the mix. And that was pretty much where all the yardage was coming from, all the points. You really didn't see a lot of the passing game. That game really opened up what Joe Owens can do, and it really showed some of the talent that he has around him. Jose getting some of his first touches of the season, I think. I don't recall him getting the ball.
Well, definitely his first touchdown.
Yeah, definitely his first touchdown. But, overall, just opening up a new completely different level to this Mauldin offense.
But my craziest thing about it was Joe Owens only throws the ball about the same amount every game. He threw it 15 times, only completed it 8. But the biggest thing was they knew when to throw the football. Yep. They realized, okay, on first down, the defense is expecting us to run the football. When just having Raekwon Fenderson or Jason Brendan King in the backfield is a huge threat to the other team. They know, okay, we need to pack the box a little bit more. And I think the defense it caught them completely off guard at Byrnes when you look. All of a sudden, it's guys like you said, Jamison Tucker and Jose Madison just running down the seam. And so the Jose catch, he was wide open. It was a great throw and all, but he was wide open. The other one to Jamison, it was a little bit closer. The defender was right there, and it was a great catch. But I just loved what I saw from the passing game in that game.
I definitely agree with you. Passing game was exceptional. Defense after that first quarter,
oh yeah,
lights out. You're looking at hardest hits that I think I've ever seen in high school football, at least multiple in a game. I hate to say it, they put several people to the training table.
I was gonna.
Not what you want, but they were hitting people hard. People hard.
And then when you look back at this, I think when you look back at the stats though, you want to talk about good defense, efficient defense. They ran the ball 40 times and finished with 110 yards. That's under 3 yards per attempt. With guys like, they had a guy, Rajay Harris, who was a junior. He was a huge power back. The dude was terrifying. They had a guy, Zach Davis, who was a speed back, had 17 rushing yards. Like, just the way they held them. And then you look, they still threw the ball 23 times. They threw it 74% on the day, and they still held them. They contained it in the second half was the biggest thing. A whole lot of the yards came in the first half. I thought that was the biggest thing moving on throughout the game. As the adjustments were made, Mauldin started to capitalize more. And that's what you want to see moving forward. What happens when you go in this game next week against Spartanburg and they score first? If we can do these adjustments and all of a sudden we're ready for them, that's going to be something to be – I'd be scared if I was another team.
And speaking of the Spartanburg game, stakes have gotten a lot higher.
Oh, yeah, that's – like we mentioned, it's going to be really interesting now. There's a new playoff format. So, like we've mentioned, our region is very tough. There are 8 teams in our region, including us. And
you're looking at 6 top
28.
Top 20, 28.
28, yeah, 28. And we're the 7th best ranked of the region teams. The other one's Riverside, who's yet to win a game. But when you look the top teams, you look. Number 1 is Byrnes at number 3 in the state. Number 6 in the state is Gaffney right now. Number 8 in the state is Dorman. Yeah, those are all teams in our region. And we were really concerned for the longest time. We were real stressed out in a lot of these games because it was, what are we going to do? We lost to Boiling Springs. Boiling Springs is now 3-1 in the region, and we're 1-3, and we got 3 games left. Like, how are we going to catch these guys with only 4 playoff spots? Well, there's a change. So we didn't realize Regions 1 and 2 in 5A have 8 teams. So both of those regions will have 5 teams going to the playoffs. So for us, there will be a 5th seed going to the playoffs. And if you get the 5th seed, you have to play the number 1 team from Region 1. And then you have, in Region 3, you have 4 teams. And only 3 make the playoffs. I thought that was pretty crazy. You only have 4 teams, but, well, we won't even talk about that. Region 4 has 6 teams. So it was very interesting to see all that. And then to throw it in even crazier, there's an at-large bid, which I can't wait to see what they do with this. Because an at-large bid just means the next best team of everybody. So that means when we were looking at it a little while ago, it's teams like Easley and us and Lawrence, teams like of that nature. And we're talking it over. These next 3 games are going to be huge for Mauldin.
Yeah, and I would argue that this at-large bid, if Mauldin doesn't sneak into that 5th seed in their region, we have a chance again. I believe we would be favored for that at-large bid.
Oh, yeah. Well, and the biggest thing is with this game, I think if it wasn't for that at-large bid, this game would be crazy. You must win this game. And I think it still is a pretty must-win for the Mavericks if they want to get that 5th seed. But when you look at those next 2 games, Dorman and Hillcrest, if you can get out one of those, or, I mean, it's great to get 2, you're really in the conversation for one of those at-large bids.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So, and it's definitely like a complete game changer. Region 2, definitely looking at one of the best regions in state. Region 1, some quality teams there. You're looking at Greenwood, Greenwood, TL Hanna, probably the 2 best teams in that region.
But then it kind of falls off.
And yeah, so
they have 2 teams that don't have wins.
And well, I mean, our region has a team that doesn't have any wins. But at the same time, I feel like Region 2, definitely 7 teams that are quality teams. It's just Mauldin at this point, we're just not pumping out wins.
I was going to say, the craziest part to me is that right now we're number 5 and Hillcrest is number 7. They won the state championship a couple of years ago, but this region is that tough. Their only win similar to us was to Riverside, and that's going to be one of the biggest things. I can't wait for that game. We got home. Mauldin versus Hillcrest, Golden Strip rivalry. That's just gonna be crazy. But for this one though, Spartanburg's they're gonna be coming out with everything they got. They know that they need to win this football game as well. And when you look at what they have left after they play us, that's the key thing for me because they play Riverside next week, and I won't say that they're gonna win, but they're gonna win. So that's the one tough thing for us is right now they have one win in the region, but they have a guaranteed win on their schedule. We don't have a guaranteed win, but we have winnable games. There's a huge difference there because Spartanburg and Hillcrest, I feel like those are winnable games for us. And Dorman, it's not a crazy stretch that it's winnable. I wouldn't say that's an automatic loss. But when you look at Spartanburg, they play us, and that's a winnable game for them as well. But I feel like Riverside's
especially
put it in the win column.
With having Spartanburg at home and having Hillcrest at home, that makes this game a completely different game, not having to go into a different atmosphere, a different place. You get the familiarity of having it at home. Spartanburg,
tough atmospheres.
Tough
atmospheres.
And Spartanburg, you're coming in, that's your homecoming game. So that's a big deal. This is actually our third week in a row, broadcasting a homecoming game.
I thought that was great.
Yeah, definitely. It's get to see Boiling Springs. It was their homecoming game. When we went there, Byrnes, it was their homecoming game. Then we get to do it one more time at Mauldin.
And maybe one more next week. We don't know if Dorman had theirs yet.
Don't know what Dorman's schedule is, but it's very possible.
And that's always a fun game too.
Yeah.
You have the festivities going